Well, welcome back. And Chris and I have come down to our local beach at Brean during this major lockdown in the UK. I think before we start we need to give a big thanks to the Angling Trust for their efforts to allow us to go fishing. It's certainly good for everyone's exercise and mental health. And regardless of your profession, everyone needs a bit of time enjoying their favourite pastime. And you probably realise Chris and I work in the NHS, and this sort of time away from the stresses and strains of working life is very valuable. So on to the fishing, and we've got a 6:15 high today, so we're about 3.5 hours before high. I'm just going to dig some bait. Got an 11.6 metre tide. It's been windy for the last day and a half, and it's just died down a bit. You can probably hear the waves out there. It looks very, very coddy, but it's been a very poor cod season. There just haven't been any fish in any numbers. So I'll be fishing lug, maybe tip with squid, pulley pennels, 4-rows at varying ranges. So I say we'll just dig for a few minutes and then wander down and get the baits out. Right, let's get to it. Right, we're ready to go. Squid stuffed with freshly dug lug, 4-rows. Just going to lob that out. I haven't put the grips in. If you can avoid it, especially on the first cast or two, it's best not to, because it can get stuck in the sort of soft sand and mud. But I've got a red lead, so that should easily hold its position. So it's just going to be a fairly gentle lob, but a 11.5 metre tide is going to come in quite quickly. That's fine. Just move it gently and then walk it back. That looks very, very fishy out there, but I've said that a number of times already this year and nothing's happened, so hopefully this will be the day. We'll go back and we'll get the other rod out. If you could pick a tide which screams cod at you, then this would be it. That's a proper bait. Well, dusk is approaching and the baits have been out about an hour and a quarter. And despite the lovely looking tide, not a sniff so far. There's just a distinct lack of cod out there this year, because this is an absolutely perfect tide. Oh well, keep going. And Chris has just had a bite. Hooray! Is he there? Definitely a bite. He had a little bit of slack and then the rod just slowly went over. Oh, excellent. Is that the short rod? Flounder maybe? How far out are you?
Another 200 yards yet.
Still a fair way. So when you say short rod, you actually mean not 300 yards, 150.
No, 200.
Thing is, pulling a fish in a big tide like this, they come in quite gently, don't they? Here he is. Ooh, that looks... Is that a bass? Yeah, a little bass. Excellent. A January bass. Lovely fish. Well, I didn't expect that.
Bass.
A bass in January.
Right, yeah.
But you thought that was a cod.
I did.
He just had a little spurt just before he... And I knew it was a bass then. A bit thin, isn't he? Yeah. He's away. Really? It must be warm. Yeah. I don't expect schoolies in the middle of January. It's nearing high tide now. I have to report my rods have been virtually motionless the whole tide. But Chris has caught a couple of school bass. Very unseasonal. We don't normally catch bass off this beach in January, but we're grateful for anything. But I'm sure we'll be out again in a couple of days' time to try our luck again. It's just lovely to be out enjoying our pastime in these horrible times we're enduring. Well, that's it for this session, but there's always next time, and that's what keeps us going. Lovely tide. The lack of codling is a concern. I'm not quite sure what we do about that. We're trying everything we can. So we've been fishing this beach for over 30 years, so we know that the techniques we use catch codling if they're there. So I can only surmise that they're not there. Hey ho, there's always next time. Well, here we are again, back on my local beach at Brean, a week or so since our last trip, and it's a gloomy day, which I think reflects the general trend of the nation, but we're fishing, so that obviously puts a smile on my face. And we've got a nice tide today, about an 11-metre tide, high at 6 this evening, so we'll be fishing into dark. The mist is sort of hanging over the top of Brean down there. It's a lovely day for cod fishing, although there have been a few bass caught recently, so chance of a bass as well, I would think. Just get a few worms and we'll start. Same tactics as normal. Lug and squid or plain lug, pulley pedals. Right, let's get at them. Right, well, the baits are out, the traps are set. Looks lovely. It's considerably warmer than the last time we were down here. I'm a bit overdressed, to be honest. It does smell fishy today, but I have said that on numerous occasions this winter and been proven wrong. Let's just hope today is the day my lucky underpants come good. Well, we're about an hour into the tide now, still got about 2 hours to go till high. Nothing as yet. The right hand rod's got a stuffed squid on it, and I've left that out. That's probably out a couple of 100 yards, probably a bit more. The left hand one I've just recast. There was a bit of whiting damage on the baits, but nothing untoward. Just waiting for that lovely slow pull down and then a load of slack line. That'd be nice. Got a long way right down tide, but it's a long way out. There's some weight there. Oh, it's hard work. Blimey, that was a long way out. Come on, fishy, fishy. Well, there's something there, definitely. Here it comes. Thing is, what is it? Feels like quite a nice fish. I think that's what we're after.
Come on.
Oh, oh, look at that.
He's off.
He's off. Hey! That's a proper one. Beauty. About 3.5 maybe. Nice fish. Yes! Right. Well, that was very nice. The first proper codling off this beach I've had for ages. It was such a long way out. I'd left it out. That was my first cast, so I think it was about 250, 300 yards out, and it was a whole squid stuffed with lug. And I'll just get this out a second. And I didn't see a pull down bite as such. All that happened was that it just moved, the line just moved sort of 30 yards down tide to the right, which when the fish take here, they generally move to the right. So I wasn't convinced it was a fish at all, really. It was just a solid weight most of the way in, but very pleasing. Well, there's still about another hour and a quarter of the tide to go, so still a chance of something else. Well, it's just after 5 o'clock now. We've got another hour until high. No further bites. We'll give it up until high. There's obviously, if there's one cod out there, hopefully there'll be more. And the rain that was forecast, fortunately, hasn't materialised as yet. Come on, one more fish. But I think the weather's going to deteriorate, isn't it, in the next few days?
It's going to get cold again at the weekend.
Oh, is it? Okay. Well, we could give it a go, so maybe Friday night, Saturday night or something like that if you fancy it. Yeah. Well, I'll be up for that. He's going to have to come in. End of the reel though. Loads of slack. But I've got no, I mean, the reel was empty.
Have you hit the lead yet?
No. A long way out, Chris, it's hard to tell, isn't it? There's a lot of slack there, but I was at the end of my line on this reel. It's only a Pen 525, so it doesn't hold a huge amount, but it is hard to discern the bite sometimes. been got at, hasn't it? Yeah. Right. Right then. That's it. High tide has been and gone. No further bites, unfortunately, but very happy with that, and I'm sure we'll be out again very shortly. So thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again very soon. So stay safe, everyone. Cheers.